It's a beautiful morning here in Virginia after we had a rip-roaring thunderstorm come through last night. And in the cockpit of my kayak, my footwells are full of water. I'm going to have to pop my scupper plugs to let that water drain out. But what I really wanted to see this morning was whether or not this hatch, which I suspect of leaking, actually let any water into the inside of the kayak. So I have not looked at this yet. I'm going to pop this open for the first time right now and see what it looks like inside. And I'm going to lean this forward, and it looks like we've got some water, but not a ton. I took a chunk of wood and stuck it underneath the back rail of the trailer to tilt the kayak forward to get any of the water that might be inside to all run up to the front. We can see that there is some water in here. And with a properly sealed sit-on-top kayak, there shouldn't be any. So I'm going to have to figure out where that water's coming from. Now I'm going to use this camera that I put inside the kayak to record what happens when I hose down this hatch with water, and I'm watching through Wi-Fi what's going on the inside. And as I'm watching, I'm clearly seeing water dripping down on the inside of the kayak. So it looks to me like this hatch is faulty and leaky. And even just sitting there, just with the water just sitting, it still continues to drip down in the inside of the kayak. Take my rag and soak up the water from the seal area before I flip the hatch open. So just in that amount of time, this is how much water went inside the kayak. And since I'm planning on putting a battery right there, having water coming into my kayak, if I was out fishing in the rain, that's not a good thing. After reviewing the video and seeing that the water seemed to be coming in not through the hatch, but between the hatch and the kayak, I went ahead and removed this hatch from the opening and found that this surface that's here is definitely not flat. It looked like that the fasteners were tightened and pulled up into the gasket and then left dishes or divots in between because the thickness of this material is too thin. It needs to be thicker so that when you tighten down on the bolts, you get a good seal all the way around. And I don't know if at the factory or at some time after that, if someone went in and put a little bit of silicone in here to try to keep it from leaking through, but the silicone was put in was just a tiny bit. It was very minimal. And it didn't do the job, obviously. I scraped, on this side, I scraped what little was here off of the plastic and tried to pick out the silicone out of these little grooves. I'm going to put my own silicone in here and reattach this hatch and see if that takes care of the leaking problem. This is the stuff that I'm going to use. This is high temp RTV silicone instant gasket, and it's designed to make gaskets out of. Normally you'd use it in like automotive applications, but it should work fairly well for this. This stuff does get really darn hot when you get sun on it, but you know, nothing on the order of what you'd see in an automotive application, but it should do the trick. Alright, now that I've got circles around each one of the fastener hole locations, I'm going to fill in between them with a big thick bead, and hopefully that will be enough to fill those divots that are in between each one of the fastener locations. Might not hurt anything to put a little bit more on, right, especially in the middle here, between these really deep dish spots. Alright, let's put the hatch back in place. And putting these all back in here loosely, getting them all started so that all of the fasteners line up in their holes, and then I'll go back around and tighten them down. Not that tightening them super tight is going to make a difference, because it's just going to pull that flange out of being flat anyway. Hey buddy. So now I'm going to go around and tighten them all down tight. Let's just check make sure that the hatch closes properly first. It actually seems to close a little bit more easily than it did previously. I don't know if that's because everything's super hot right now. We've got squeeze out in most of these bolt holes, which is a good thing, which means that there was at least adequate silicone in there, that it filled the gaps enough to squeeze out around the edges. It would be nice if it squeezed out around the inside of the hatch too, but I won't be able to see that until I stick a camera in there. Let's try the fit again. It seems to go in and out much easier than it did before. So I think I'm going to leave that, I might leave that hatch, not sure whether to leave it open or closed while it's curing. I'd like to leave it open for good ventilation. Alright, well let's see if that does the trick.